Today's historical situation, I think, not only does not compel us to drop the notion of proletariat, on the contrary, it compels us to radicalize Marxist notion of a proletarian, the exploited worker whose product is taken away from him so that he is reduced to subjectivity without substance. It should be radicalized to an existential level well beyond Marxist imagination, to a subject reduced to the evanescent point almost of the Cartesian cogito, deprived of all substantial content. What is ecological crisis if not another form of proletarization? We are being deprived of the natural substance of our existence. What is all the struggle for intellectual property if not an attempt to deprive us of the symbolic substance of our lives? What are biogenetics manipulations, if not an attempt to deprive us even of our genetic legacy, and so on? The same goes for slum dwellers and other living dead deprived of the most elementary conditions of life, even at the psychological level, the so-called post-traumatic subjects, the living dead, deprived of their substance. So I claim we should renovate Marx not by making a compromise. Marx was too utopian, we should stay within capitalism, but by pushing his notion of proletarization even further. I'm almost tempted, shamelessly to say, as a materialist, to an apocalyptic level. I told this when he was here to Gianni Vattimo, and he advocated this weak communism, no? I told him, I agree with you only on condition that you admit that if communism is weak, it needs a strong army, police, protection, no, and so on. But where I agree with him is I am, let's say, a weak apocalyptic person. That is to say, I don't believe this tomorrow an asteroid will kill us, but frankly, I claim that a cold analysis of all these processes that I enumerated, ecology, biogenetics, and so on, slums, and so on, do they not all approach some kind of almost apocalyptic 0 point? Ecological breakdown, biogenetic reduction of humans to manipulable machines, total digital control of, over our lives, and so on, and so on. And there are many elements in our experience. Here we should start the analysis. This would be for me the beginning of being a communist today. To locate these dimensions of the ongoing proletarization. For example, just to give you two empirical, detailed phenomena. Food. What goes on the food market? We hear a lot about fight against drought and so on. It's a part of the aesthetic image of every big company, from Starbucks downward, to claim how when you buy their product, you help the poor to have more whatever. But what is less known is that something terrifying is silently going on. You know what are big companies and whole countries doing? Just to give you an idea of what is going on while we are not even aware of it. You know that as an answer to the ongoing economic and weather disturbances, you know that big countries, developed countries, are now serially buying or leasing for 99 years, getting control of large tracts of the most fertile land in third world countries, directly, in a way, recolonizing them. For example, I read recently that nearly half of all arable land in Madagascar was recently bought by a combination of South Korean companies, and so on and so on. I mean, new hungers are prepared here.